that later. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Paranormal Psychic Live. I did not get a chance to post when I was going to be on, and I wanted to get this live wrapped up, which part of this live is a recap about Florida last week, and then what is in the mix right now with Florida. And as I said, I do want to hear from you what you're interested in stream. Sorry about that. The stream went off. That's a first I've ever had that happen. It could be also the weather here where I am. It's not the greatest. Maybe that's a factor in the connectivity. So that Miami City Cemetery, I returned because there's a ghost story, and I'll say, hi, Icon. Welcome to the Paranormal Psychic Live. If you're not following my channel, follow my channel. I do take requests. Let me know where you're tuning in from, too, because that helps me knowing where you are in the world, because with this live I signed on earlier, right? It's almost 10 a.m. here. I'm on New York City time. So I do want to know where in the world you're tuning in from, because I do try to do this live. Oh, you're in Pennsylvania. Okay, very good. Whereabouts in Pennsylvania? There's a paranormal expo in September in Scranton. If you're near Scranton. I did live in Scranton for, let me think about this, 3 years. I taught at the University of Scranton philosophy. Oh, you're not near there. Yeah. If you are interested in paranormal expos, there are throughout different locations in Pennsylvania. There was just the Pennhurst Paracon in Philadelphia last weekend, which they're already selling tickets for next year. Thank you for the likes. That one is massive. I did not go because I just had gotten back from Florida. And that's what, if you check out my channel, I have replays of a paranormal investigation that we conducted at Show World, which was very interesting. There's part of the investigation here on my YouTube channel. And also, so I do take requests, what you're interested in, because as I say this with this channel, I'm still figuring out where the interest is. I do post a lot of ghost stories because my several of my other social media, they're paranormal communities. So that's why I filmed lots of ghost stories this week. Atlantic City, Mays Landing. I was in the Pine Barrens yesterday. Filming got cut short because of the weather. The video I did film yesterday in the Pine Barrens, I did film in the rain. And interestingly enough, that ghost story is about a rainstorm causing a tragedy. So, you could say that's a synchronicity. But I do take requests with videos and what your interests are. As I said, because I'm still trying to figure that out. So the Miami City Cemetery replay, which is on my channel / page, there was a reason why I went back, because last year there was this story about scratching. And I know, take a deep breath, because I don't want people to freak out, and it may not be you, but people will not hear correctly what I'm saying. So there's a scratching story. So I said, I'm not going to do this ghost story about scratches and getting scratched. And so we filmed a ghost story at Miami City Cemetery last year. about Julia Tuttle, the mother of Miami, which is also in the replay too. She is not the reason why I went back to that cemetery. So anyway, the next day we're back from Miami, and in the inside here is a little 11 scratched. Didn't hurt, didn't even realize I got scratched. And I said, okay, the scratcher wanted my attention. It wasn't malevolent, it wasn't mean. You know, if you look into the whole scratching um experiences and the paranormal, mine was not harmful or hurtful, malicious or malevolent. It was, hey, I'm here too. And I had talked with another paranormal investigator, and she said, you got to go back and tell her story. That's why we went live from Miami City Cemetery, because I went back to tell her story. And I had it's Carrie Barrett Miller, if you watch the replay. And I said to her, I am going to return. I am going to tell your story. However, I have a condition. Do not scratch me. And I'll say this, I did not get scratched this time because I spoke her truth. Yes, drugs are bad. I don't drink alcohol or take any drugs. So that is a good PSA, but that's the wrong live, Tony. That would be for recovery lives, you know, those type of communities. That's not this community. So you may be in the wrong live, Mr. Mallory. Um, God bless. And okay, so saying with this, so here was the whole thing. I talk about this during the lives. When you have a paranormal experience or you live somewhere that has paranormal activity, you should try to talk to them like they're a person in a physical body. So I went back, told her story, also what I got in psychically, which did not match with what I read. And I spoke her truth. I told her story. It was like case closed. This with the trip too. Okay, we closed this chapter. I told her story. It's hi, Angel. Welcome to the Paranormal Psychic Live. I spoke her truth. There's also the Julia Tuttle, the mother of Miami. That ghost story is in there as well. And then an Isabella Peacock, right? Which the one tour guide during Halloween, when they run the Miami City Cemetery ghost tour, he has said, I've listened on video, he has said, Julia Tuttle's ghost speaks to us. Isabella Peacock's ghost speaks to us. Now, what that means, I don't know. I haven't taken the tour, but I did watch the video on that. Also, too, so that was a box ticked with Miami City Cemetery. I don't see us returning to Miami City Cemetery next month in Miami. Now, I had posted announcements about investigating at the King Cromartie house. And this is also too, right? So I talk about, also to ethics with all of this and integrity. So I'd post an announcement that we were going to investigate at King Cromartie. And an hour before the investigation, I had to pull the plug. But I'm going to say I'm pointing over here. I do have the replay of the investigation. And I'm going to point over here. If you want me to go live next month with that investigation, I can. So what happened was I talked with an investigator, not on here, like I said, these paranormal communities I have on a couple other social media pages. And I said, I need somewhere to investigate in South Florida. Everything I was looking at was expensive. And honestly, I wasn't going to pay $350 to rent a hotel room for an investigation. So he said, why don't you investigate the King Cromartie on the Fort Lauderdale Riverwalk? And we did film ghost stories there last year. So I am familiar with the Riverwalk. I was familiar with the Riverwalk. And as I'm about to board the plane to fly to Florida, I see not on here, in the comments, a paranormal team that says, "Hey, that's not the King Cromartie house that this AI, right?" So you can make these AI videos. They're about 8 seconds. You'll see some of them are on my channel and or page. And I start to have, I don't even know who I'm talking to. I know I was talking to a woman because there's 7 of them and I could just feel it intuitively. And I said, I hope this isn't a turf war about investigating the King Cromartie because, and I'm saying it includes the men too. They can get a little rare, about this. So I started. So now this paranormal team, maybe I had seen something about them on social media, probably, but didn't pay close attention. So then I started looking at their page, one of their social media pages, and I saw that they have exclusive access to the King Cromartie. Okay, so now I'm boarding a plane and I'm like, I don't know, right? So I'm in Florida, and then the next day, what I do, and I believe I'm pointing this way, I believe the replay is accessible, is I told Ghost Stories Live now a replay from the King Cromartie house with an investigative locale preview. Where would we put the equipment outside? If you've watched any of my replays or been live with me, the indoor locations, I haven't done locale previews, like where we are next month with 222 PIR, Stay Haunted, Carmela and Todd. I've been inside that house. So I don't need to do, hi Watson. I don't need to conduct a locale preview. That's June 13th. That's a Saturday. So I will probably get live with all of you by like 9:30, 10 p.m.-ish. I'm thinking about this because I'm looking and I'm thinking with that a new thought. See, that's all the Gemini right now too. Solutions come in and you're like, wow, that's great, too. Even with what I'm doing right now, today, I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right? I'm gonna put this Florida recap, live then replay, to bed for now, right? There won't be another recap of Florida until July. So we film live, and if you actually look, I'm pointing this way, because this way you don't have it, but you do, YouTube. And what happened was, if you do watch that replay of the King Cromartie ghost stories and the locale preview, staking out where we would place the paranormal equipment outside of the King Cromartie on the grounds. If you see, it gets interrupted. There's 2 parts to it. I was in the middle of the live here, and one of the employees of the Riverwalk, he said, "Oh, what are you doing?" He doesn't know that we're live here with you, YouTube. And I said, "Oh, well, I'm talking about the history and, ghost stories with the King Cromartie." And he asks me, where I'm from. And I say where I'm from on the East Coast. And I was like, why? And he says, when I'm listening to you talk, I can tell you're from the tri-state area. I'm from New York. And then I told him that I'm a psychic medium. And he said, I want to take you inside to the main office so you can meet the operations manager. So we had to interrupt this live, YouTube, because it was like, okay, I'll be back, like this. So I go in the office with Milton. Also, Eric's with me. He's the one behind the phone filming. So I meet the operations manager and, tell him I'm a psychic medium. And he gives me the phone number of the one paranormal investigator of that team that wrote in the comments. Now, it was not him. It was one of the women on the team. He's the only male on the team. And he said, I would like, if possible, for you to connect and conduct an investigation with him. His name is Tim, and he's well established as a paranormal investigator, and he's very ethical. So I called him and we're talking, and hopefully next month we can conduct an investigation in the King Crow Marty because he has the keys. So I talked to Tim for a couple hours, and as I got off the phone, I said to Eric, right, we can't go to the King Cromartie in an hour. I got to pull the plug on this because it's an integrity ethics issue. So at the 11th hour, I had to pull the plug on King Cromartie. Now, the turn of events were positive. See, and that's how spirit works. Meeting Milton, then the operations manager talking to Tim. It was a chain of events. Even the initial ball rolling and that exchange on social media with one of his team members was, I mean, it didn't escalate. It wasn't negative. She was, her last words were kind. So the point is these are the twists and turns that can happen, right? So that is why at this point we did not investigate at King Crow Marty. But hopefully next month Tim's schedule is going to work and I can go with him into King Crow Marty. And also right across the sidewalk is the New River Inn, which is haunted. I did film ghost stories there last year. I'm honestly not sure if they're on my YouTube channel. You'd have to scroll through my page. And then there's a replica of a schoolhouse, which is haunted too. Saying so, I'm just giving a little, I'm having some connectivity issues this morning, everyone. Okay, so I talked about why there's no King Cromartie. I have my bullet points, and I say this, I can talk free form, but then I just feel structurally I said what I needed to say during the live. Okay, I talked about Tim, I talked about the operations manager. I talked about Show World. That replay I'm pointing here, YouTube, is on my YouTube, part of it. And I talked about the Miami cemetery. Okay, this is the one point I want to say about Florida, and then I'm going to move out of Florida. So in the replay, I'm pointing this way, which means you have the replay, which means you don't have the replay. In that replay, in part 1 or part 2, and if you want that replay, you need to let me know because I will upload a replay. I'm pointing this way, not apply to you. In part 1 or part 2, I tell a ghost story about a little girl, Lulu, this blonde-haired girl ghost that people see on the sidewalk near the King Cromartie house and the New River Inn. Well, when I talked on the phone with Tim, he shared with me that the historian told him that that little girl's name is not Lulu because Lulu lived until she's 95. So that's what's saying also fact checking after the fact. That's what's saying it's okay to update. I forget who I was listening to. Oh, actually, a biographer about the royal family, how he's coming out with an updated edition of his book. And I'm also in that camp of, well, then you just update. I mean, you got to get it out there, That's what, revisions and updated editions are for, are updates on stories. Anyway, so the little girl's name is not Lulu. Lulu lived until she's 95. But here's the thing. There is a little girl blonde ghost that people see at that river walk. However, it's not Lulu that attended that schoolhouse, which is a replica that's haunted. So that's the update if you listen to the King Cromartie Investigative Locale Preview and Ghost Stories replay. So that is, as far as this last week in Florida, that is my wrap up. I am back in Florida the end of next month. I would like to, that's what I said, go live with Tim, with all of you from King Cromartie, possibly New River Inn, and the schoolhouse, so that you can see that ideally live and or in a replay. So, okay, that's the Florida recap. Tick that box. Okay, I'm going to talk a little astrology right now. You can always let me know in the comments your sun sign. It is Western astrology. It is not Vedic astrology. There was a new moon last weekend. I had talked about, writing out your goals, how you want to go into the second half of the year, reflecting on that. As far as the astrology this week, there's been a lot of changes, and I filmed 4 or 5 astrology videos yesterday. And I will try to upload them ASAP. So let me start with Mercury, the thinking communication planet. Do we have any Geminis here? Any of you Gemini, sun, moon, rising, primary planets in Gemini? Mercury is the thinking communication planet in mythology, in Greek mythology. It's the god Hermes. It is now in Gemini and its home base ruler. So thinking thoughts are moving super extra rapidly. It's staying there until June 1st. Every day when I look from Sunday to now, it's something at 5 or 6 degrees, which is incredible. It's incredibly quick. But if you can, get on the saddle and hold the reins, it's a really incredible journey of the mind. And I'm saying this, I don't have my Mercury in Gemini. My personality is not Gemini. I don't have any primary planets in Gemini, but it's really an incredible energy. And also now the sun's in Gemini. And also we have Uranus just recently, and it's going to be there for years now. So you get Sun, Mercury, Uranus. Well, okay, what does this mean? Ideas can come in like a flash of lightning, quick, out of nowhere. You're like, oh, that's really cool. Or you problem solve in a way. You come up with a solution that helps you with time and energy that you didn't piece together before, and then it works. That's the beauty of the Gemini. Gemini is a charming sign. It's a flirtatious sign. It loves a good conversation. A good conversation is like an aphrodisiac. They're charming, they're intriguing. They kind of can be also, a lot of them, a bit of a hard to get energy. So if you like a hard to get chase, then Gemini a lot of times is your person. To say they're mercurial, they can change their mind on a dime. I've been seeing this week, making split second decisions, saying within 15 minutes, saying, you know what? And this was even yesterday because I couldn't finish filming because it was raining here. I made a split second decision to go somewhere spontaneously. That's very Gemini. Not that saying you can't be spontaneous, but the energy right now makes that even more possible. I'm not finding exactly the word. So ride the wave, with all the Gemini right now, or if you have Gemini friends too. It is a hyper stimulating time now through June 1st. So the Sun, Mercury, Uranus are all in Gemini. And I will talk about that one more live next week. Okay, so I'm going through the astrology. Okay, so I talked about the Mercury. Venus, the romance relationship planet, relationships across the board, is in Cancer. Do we have any Cancers listening? Sun, moon, rising, primary planets, Cancer. Is your sweetie pie Cancer, or so that Venus in Cancer is very much relationship oriented. Cancer is also the sign of the mother. Venus, Cancer people, if you date someone or in a relationship or married to your spouse, your partner, all of that, they need that security that you're there. and you're going to always be there. They need that consistency, that reliability, that steadiness. For example, with a man with Venus and Cancer, cook him a good meal. You've probably won him over. A Venus and Cancer woman, you pick some flowers from outside, you give them to her. She's really moved. She gets sentimental. She may get wistful because when she was little and she was in her aunt's garden, and oh my God, these are, some of these are the same flowers. That's very much Venus and Cancer. People with Venus and Cancer thrive being in a relationship. It gives them security, it gives them stability. It makes them feel secure, like your blanket from childhood, your stuffed animal. So that is the relationship transit energy right now through next month. Mars, which is the action planet. We have any Tauruses here, right? We just finished Taurus season. We are in Gemini season right now. So if you're Gemini, I'm going to say happy birthday. Whether you recently had a birthday just the last couple days, or you have one coming up, shout out to the Geminis and Taurus, belated happy birthday. So Mars, which is the action planet, is in Taurus. So Mars is how you carry out your actions. It's ruled by the god Aries in astrology. Now, there are astrologers that say that Mars being in Taurus is a weakness. I don't agree. I do not agree with that assessment. I think Mars in Taurus is great. And I'll explain to you why I think it's great. So if you have Taurus placement, sun, moon, rising, primary planets, or you have a friend that's a Taurus too. I've seen this with Mars Taurus people. Mars Taurus people show up for work, or whether it's a sport or a competition. They thrive having a schedule. They thrive having structure. They are usually workhorses. Work gives them purpose. Work gives them fulfillment. Same thing with a sport or a routine or a schedule. Taurus needs a schedule. It is an earth sign. It's practical. It's logical. It is not impulsive in its actions or its thinking. Yes, it can be stubborn like the bull or dig its heels into the dirt and not budge. But an evolved Taurus is reliable, consistent, and usually a very good employee to have. That's why also they can delegate and with running their own businesses. So the action planet in Taurus, I don't think is in astrology. They say it's a detriment. I don't think it is. And I'll say this for me as an astrologer, Mars in Cancer, Mars in Libra, definitely Mars in Libra, which is opposite because Mars is ruled by Aries and Scorpio. That's not ideal. For sure. Mars in Pisces, which we recently had a couple months ago, not ideal. Saying for the Mars, because Mars is about being decisive and Taurus can be decisive, not quickly decisive, but really think it out. So when they make a move, it's the right move. So I think it's good, the Mars in Taurus. I think, you're grounded, you're stable, you're practical. You're thinking out a course of action and when you should act on it, not just acting on it, which Mars and Aries, which we just had, could be very impulsive. Saying so, I think Mars in Taurus, the action plan Taurus, I think that's good. I think it's a good thing. Saying okay, so that is my recap of the astrology, because the next live I'll talk about the full moon next weekend, which is going to be really intense, but I'll wait to talk about that as that gets closer. That's going to be next Sunday morning East Coast time. Okay, I have not posted this on here, but if you are in New Jersey, in the United States, I run a ghost tour of downtown Toms River, New Jersey, and I'm offering that next Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Saturday, May 30th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are interested, let me know in the comments. It is, there's 8 stops, not a lot of walking. We meet at the Ocean County Courthouse on the Washington Street side. It's the 5th year I've been running that ghost tour. I do encourage you to take pictures. Previous tours, people have gotten at the cemetery faces on the tombstones. One year, even an image of a witch. I did not ask that person for that picture. I think it's, the first year I ran that ghost tour. How did I get these stories? Besides, some are my experiences, but definitely not the majority. I flagged people down on Washington Street. Hey, do you work in these buildings? Yeah, just asked, do you have a ghost story? I don't, but if you go in building so and so and ask for so and so, he or she has a story. Again, not a lot of walking, 8 stops. It is $25 a person. You can pay on site cash or Venmo. I did last night just upload links to purchase tickets through Eventbrite. So I do need to post that video and links for the ghost tour May 29th, Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, May 30th Eastern Standard Time. And I probably will offer the ghost tour 1 or 2 Friday nights in June. I'm thinking definitely 1, possibly 2. But if you like a ghost tour and you are here at the Jersey Shore or New Jersey, it's definitely worth going to. And you do get to pick my brain for an hour and a half as well, because you're getting a ghost tour with not just someone telling you ghost stories, you're also getting it with someone that's a psychic medium that sees and is able to communicate with spirits and ghosts. So you get a bonus package with my ghost tour. Okay, I'm just checking off some boxes here. I know this morning I got emails from people that are attending my workshops. July 20th, July 21st, July 22nd. I am teaching workshops in upstate New York, an hour south of Buffalo, in Lilydale, New York. Monday, July 20th, how to see auras, 2 to 5 p.m. Tuesday, July 21st, astral projection, 2 to 5 p.m. Wednesday, July 22nd, psychic astrology, 2 to 5 p.m. You go to www.lilydaleassembly.org. That is LILYDALEASSEMBLY.org. And you scroll through the summer season menu, you purchase tickets that way. I do not handle ticketing. My ghost tour, yes, I handle the ticketing. Lilydale handles those tickets. They're fantastic workshops. I had even one of the emails this morning said, hey, do you have any books you recommend on auras? I've never read a complete book on auras because it's everything I teach is direct experience. That's how I'm able to teach these workshops. I didn't read a bunch of books, and now I'm teaching how to see auras. I'm teaching how to see auras because I see auras. Like, I'll give you an example. Last night, I watched one of my replay lives, not these lives that I'm doing right now. And anyway, too, when you want to see someone's aura, it's best that they wear the color white. That's ideal because you have the best chance of seeing the color field around the person. Anyway, and I have white on today and it's a sweater because it's cool enough here. I'm milking it. These are probably the last days I'm wearing a sweater until the fall. Never say never. We'll see, what the temperature is. Lilydale, New York in July can be unpredictable. But I watched this is the point, if you're interested in how to see auras. And that's why the workshop is beneficial, because you're spending time with me in person. Yes, at some point, I would like to offer these workshops online. that's saying. So you could be anywhere in the world, obviously be a Zoom or something where you're up on the video screens, or at least I'm up on the video screen, teaching how to see auras. So when I was watching a replay last night and I had a white shirt on, my point is I could see my aura from the replay. I had yellow here, I had light green, blue. So it's letting me know my energy and mood, even though I'll say this, with that replay was a really rough day. And I could see I was a bit flagged, but my energy was my aura was very pastel-y. So my point is too, it even imprints. Sometimes when I'm watching movies, I can see the imprint of the aura on the person. For example, like my replay that I watched last night, I was able to see my aura. Even now, I can see it because I'm looking back at myself on the video screen with this live. So that's lilydaleassembly.org, July 20th to the 22nd. Lilydale is a life-changing experience. This is the 20th year I'm going to Lilydale, New York. It's a spiritualist community. Mostly psychic mediums live there. It's very enriching. There's lots to do during the summer season. Depending where you are, it is worth the trip. You can fly into Buffalo, New York Airport. It's an hour south of the Buffalo, New York Airport. Okay. Let's see. I'll wait to talk about June. So, I'll also talk about, okay, so where did I film this past week? I filmed in Atlantic City because I do get a lot of requests for Atlantic City. I've got some really cool ghost story videos that I filmed. I filmed in Mays Landing, which is also very popular with views. And seeing if we can secure a paranormal investigation or two in Mays Landing. And then yesterday I filmed one in the Pine Barrens because I have been getting requests about the Jersey Devil. And interestingly enough, the one video I did film yesterday in the rain includes the Jersey Devil. So I have those videos to post. Again, let me know what you're interested in, because I know I'm pointing over here because I know Michelle is also on with this live, and I know Michelle's very into the paranormal because she also follows my social media on more than one social media. So I'm pointing that way because I know what Michelle is interested in. Okay, so I'm going to make one final announcement. I recently became an affiliate for ghoststop.com. That's www.ghoststop.com. They sell paranormal investigative equipment made by paranormal investigators. And if you're ever interested, I do say this when I talk during the lives because I do think about, are you interested in attending an investigation? Are you interested in conducting a paranormal investigation? Some of my regulars on my other social media have conducted paranormal investigations, and also too, I have a circle of paranormal investigators that I am connected to through social media. So Ghost Stop, and I have a link that lets Ghost Stop know that you purchased because you heard me talk about it, to their equipment. With ghoststop.com, you're buying legitimate equipment. It's not Shein or Temu, or not to say even Amazon. You want to buy equipment that's legit. And ghoststop.com is legit equipment. I'll just give you an example because their anniversary sale runs until tonight. And yes, I do need to post the links, and I'm pointing both ways here. They have an anniversary sale tonight. To give you an example, I got a Flux flux machine, which is a yes or no, because I was seeing this even in Florida. The yes no device I got from them immensely helped with the Q&A and the investigations too. So ghoststop.com sells a dead bell, which I know even 222 PIR, and I have to say really it was Todd, watching him with the equipment he has, that I learned what equipment to select. I mean, to get started. Dead bell, one of my favorites. I think also Carmela and Todd's tripwire too, right? Which is for the floor, to let you know if spirits or ghosts are entering the room. The flux is a yes no device, right? So mine just came yesterday. I haven't even opened it up yet. Spirit box, right? That too. Also if you're asking some type of EVP or what you're hearing on the transistor radio of the spirit box, as well. I know next on my list, probably next month, I will get a REM pod from Ghost Stop. There's an Ovilus. They do sell the Ovilus. I will say this, it is expensive. But they sell a lot of cool yet legitimate equipment that you're buying from somewhere credible. And if you are interested in further asking me with Ghost Stop, just let me know in the comments, or I'm pointing this way. You can also message me. But that sale isn't until tonight, and that is the website to go to because it's legit. And as I said, you want to buy legitimate equipment. If don't waste your money on Shein or Temu or Amazon, because there's no guarantee it's legit, or because there are the investigators about the whole false evidence conundrum. Why buy it when it's probably bogus and crap, to be honest with all of you? So I do need to post those links. There are a lot to upload. Saying so, moving forward, I will probably have the next live. I need to sneeze a second. Okay. So maybe I probably will have the next live probably next Friday. Or I'm thinking by next Saturday, the latest. So that'll be right before the ghost tours. Again, I do take requests. Let me know. Follow my channel, follow my page if you're not following. I will try to post an announcement of when I'm going live, but I needed to put this live to bed. And as I said, in a week, I'll be talking about that full moon, for sure, and where the week goes. So have a great week. It is Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. So that is why Monday I do not do any lives, because some people will think it's disrespectful. Because also, too, it's a day to remember people in the military that fought for us here in the United States to have the freedoms we have. So out of respect to them, Monday is a holiday. This is the kickoff of Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure people traveling here for the weekend are going to be very disappointed. It is not beach weather. As you can see, I'm in a sweater today. Too. Have a great weekend. Do something relaxing. Make sure you take care of yourself. Self-care is really important. Surround yourself with good people. Make people that make you feel good about yourself. That's really important. And I will catch up with all of you in a week or by next weekend, everyone. So have a great weekend and see you soon.